Carl, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Really, really appreciate it. So we've just been kind of going through your roadmap. You give me a bit of an update on the plan that we kind of got in place for you and your finances, and it's really amazing, really refreshing to see kind of what your potential is, what anyone's potential is when they actually just dive in and actually kind of commit to a plan. So, full respect to you for, doing what you've done. What I wanted to do today is just ask you a few questions about your time in the program, what your experience has been and so on, just in case it can help anyone else who may be in a similar situation. So kicking off, best place to start is right at the beginning, really. Like before you did join the program, I suppose, where were you in terms of your finances, your goals, and maybe your mindset around money, and what made you want to actually take the leap to join in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. Money was on my mind all the time because of the debt that I had from a previous business, and it was consuming my mental space. It was giving me sleepless nights, stress. It was impinging on all areas of my life, but I just didn't quite know how to get a grasp of it. I'd already tried to set up my own kind of system of doing things, and I just wasn't seeing any real change. And I knew for the future that I wanted, with engaged to get married, wanting a family, wanting to have financial stability. I knew something had to change. I just didn't know how to do it, didn't know how to go about it, didn't know how to get the stress off my shoulders, basically. So that's kind of where I was at, in a bit of a hole with it, to be honest.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, and obviously, I think at the time, I remember when you joined, obviously, excuse me, we ask everyone what their goals are. So yours were just kind of like you mentioned, really getting a grip of your monthly finances, getting a proper system in place, getting the debts gone, because I know they had kind of been a significant source of stress. An emergency fund as well, which is always something that's absolutely essential. And obviously, just being able to retire sooner rather than later, preferably, was one of the goals as well. So, where are you now versus that place you were at before? Where are you now with those goals, having completed the process?
Well, my entire kind of life has changed with it, and that's not an understatement. I don't have sleepless nights anymore. I feel so much happier with my finances. It's got to the point now where it's almost like a fun, I know this sounds a bit weird, but like a fun game of how quick can I get that debt down? How good can I get my finances? And it gives me such satisfaction to know that I have control now. Yeah, and those goals, like, my debt's going to be paid off quicker than I ever imagined. I thought I'd be holding on to that debt for 10, 15 years. It's going to be paid off by the end of this year now, just by organizing these finances and prioritizing that debt payment. My monthly spending is completely transformed. Just following the steps that you've given me and the spreadsheets and the materials, you know, when you first tackle it, it's very daunting and scary because you're going into this mammoth problem that is dominating your life. But just following these simple steps that anyone can do, you don't have to be like a financial whiz or know anything special. I didn't, but just following these step by step. Every month now, my finances are so tight in terms of control, but I still have money to go for meals with my wife, plan a holiday. It's not like I'm living on no money. I have a really good balance now. So debt repayment and monthly costings, it's completely changed my life. And then
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, which was a revelation with doing this program with you, was the fact that I could retire, what was it, something like 17 years earlier than I expected. I could retire at the age of 50 if the plan goes to plan. And that just blew my mind because I work in a profession where I'm working long hours, difficult hours, very stressful demand. And the fact that I could retire early and live a really exciting life after that, it's just incredible.
Yeah, yeah, I think it goes a long way to like emphasizing that it is possible for let's say like normal people like us, normal people who work in these roles like you're working, who work really hard. Like it is possible to stop working and retire much earlier than most people can imagine is possible for them if they just have a plan, if they know what steps to follow, right? And like you said, I love that you pointed this out because I emphasize this all the time of um, gamifying the process. Like when you get a system and you're like, oh, well, if I did this and I did that, you kind of get into competition with yourself. And
Mm.
all it does is make you wealthier. It makes you feel more in control, makes you feel more secure, gives you more peace of mind. So it only helps as well, and it can actually be fun if you're anything like us, I suppose. So yeah, no, it's music to my ears to hear that it's transformed your life, like you said, I suppose, in your words, like as much as it has. So I'm so chuffed for you. So yeah, just to kind of recap, obviously we went through what you wanted. So you've now got money management system in place. I think we were able to free up about £900 a month to divert into, getting debt paid off faster and so on and so forth versus the kind of prior state. Debt elimination plan, we worked out is going to save you about 10.5 grand in interest, and get your debt gone. It was nearly like, I think it was about 20 odd years earlier, wasn't it? Versus if you kind of just carried on paying at the rate you were. Emergency fund is obviously going to be in place as well once the debt's gone. And yeah, the plan for like the investment plan and strategy for working alongside what I think we should say is obviously like your NHS pension as well. So a lot of people coming into this are like, oh, well, I've got an NHS or a local government or whatever it is, kind of defined benefit pension. Like, is this something that like I can help them with? And we've shown here like those systems and those pensions are amazing, but you need to understand how they work. You need to understand and be able to kind of like flesh out what that's going to mean in terms of income, depending on the age you take it. And getting that information, I don't know if you've had this experience, but getting that information out of the NHS themselves is not easy. If anything, it's impossible. And we've had people who have been told that they're going to be charged by the NHS for them, and these are actively employed by the NHS as well. So it's just crazy to me. So it's really nice to be able to do that for people who are in the roles that you are, literally saving lives and things like that, to kind of give you that clarity over what it actually means, and then for us to build a plan in parallel with that kind of shows you when the lines intersect that will enable you to be able to stop working. That's, I think, really, really cool to be able to do. So I'm glad that that's helping.
I mean, I think a very important point just to make about that as well is the whole thing you just said is this whole process. At no point have I felt like I'm living on like no money. Like I still feel like I can afford my food, my bills. I can still socialize. Obviously, everything within limits in terms of prioritizing paying off the debt. But I'm still going on holiday. I'm still seeing my friends for socialize. I'm still going out with my wife. So it's a really good balance.
Yeah, and that's the key. There's no point in kind of living on rice and beans and having a miserable existence just to be able to achieve a goal in a few years' time or make it happen a few years earlier. Like it's got to be about balance. So that's something that is really, really important in all the plans that we build for people. So now that you've achieved these things then and you have a plan in place for unlocking what is your your future wealth potential, how do you feel now?
I just, yeah, it's transforming. My stress from money has just disappeared. Like I can't quite describe how much, and I probably didn't realize until now how much it was impacting me, impacting my ability to sleep, to concentrate, to thrive, basically.
Yeah.
And that affects everything. It affects your relationships. It affects your ability when you've got extra things, I say at work or extra exams, things like that. It literally impacts every area of your life. Whereas now, it's like a nice, smooth, quiet running machine in the background, which I sometimes pop in and I enjoy looking at it, and I actually enjoy tweaking. And like we said, a bit of a game of how can I make it better? How can I
Yeah.
get the next level? So my relationship with money has changed to such a positive experience from a negative in such a small amount of time, which is just mind blowing. And if you told me right at the beginning, I wouldn't have ever imagined such a change to now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is mad, isn't it? Because I find that, like financial stress and money worries and, the things that are causing those, whether it's debt or just, mismanagement or feeling out of control, it's kind of a steady build for some people, like a younger age or when they first start earning good money and they make some bad decisions. It's like a steady build of like, ill-informed decisions due to the lack of education we all have around finances, right? And getting to a certain point where it's almost just become a normal part of life and you don't really realize how bad it's got until you're looking back from a better place on like what it was like and you're like, wow, how did I let it get that bad? But this is the problem. Again, excuse me, we're just not taught on how to do this. So again, it's music to my ears. I love this. And obviously what people really want to know is, how have we done it? How have we got these results?
I mean, a plan, a system. You gave a very clear plan on how to do it. And like I said before, it's not complicated. Like you're not giving me things which I'm having to go away and learn like massive new skills. You're
Mm,
giving me small, easy steps, easy frameworks, easy systems to change. And it almost just as we talked about how it sneaks up on you, how you can get so in a hole with finances. You've kind of done that in the reverse for me, which is you've just given me step by step. So I never felt like I was tackling this massive hurdle. And then before I know it, I'm looking back and seeing how much has changed
yeah.
just by following the steps. And then the other thing is consistency. It's just doing these month in, month out. And like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's not a chore. It's not a monthly issue for me. It's very fulfilling and it's very satisfying just following the system step by step.
Yeah, I think that's the thing for a lot of people is having all that kind of heavy lifting initially that most people, if they're trying and they sit down like, right, I'm going to finally take control of my finances, my debts, whatever it is. It's like, right, well, I've got to find a strategy I'm going to use, like tools that I'm going to use to track things, keep on track and measure my progress. And that's enough for most people to just not ever bother because I don't have the time to figure all of that stuff out. So being able to kind of just give people everything on day one, ready built, and be like, right, give us some data. Now let's work together. Here's how we're going to map things out going forward. Here's a sequence of steps to follow. Plug these numbers into here. Bish bash bosh. Here's your plan. Follow this. And so long as you feel confident and comfortable with executing it, then it's basically okay. You just go away and do it now, and let us know if you need help. And it really does work. So it's nice to hear you kind of confirming that, I suppose, from your side.
The
I suppose
system
what I'm
works.
interested.
The
Yeah,
system
no,
works.
I'm glad to hear it. And is this something you feel like you could have done on your own?
No.
No.
No, because for example, or I've got evidence that I tried this. I had my own spreadsheets. I'll, I'll say it. I love a spreadsheet. So I tried multiple of my own. I tried to do it, and yeah, maybe I'd get a couple of months in a row where I'm doing quite well, but it wouldn't impact anywhere as much as the systems that you've provided, and also
Yeah.
doing it myself. You're trying to tackle a month at a time. You're not looking long term. Whereas what you've done is you've gone, right, here's the things for the monthly, how we're going to tackle that. And then you take the
Mm.
weight off our shoulders by going, here's the long term plan. This is what you need. I've done the calculations. This is what you need to focus on month by month. And I never had that capacity to look 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years down the line.
Yeah.
Whereas you kind of provided that for me and then said, so this is what you need to do now. I would never
Yeah.
have even got anywhere close to that.
I think that's the power in this. It's being able to see kind of like a holistic, robust plan that includes like all of the pieces of your financial puzzle all in one process. Like, start here, do this, do this, do this, do this, all the way through to kind of at the end, like a lifetime plan. So that's cool. And how have you found the process? How have you found? You kind of mentioned already. Obviously, they've been great, but like, how have you found overall the process, the tools, the educational resources, kind of as a overall package?
Yeah, amazing. Because like any system you go into, it's daunting, it's scary. You see it as a risk, which I'm sure people will be watching this
Mm,
on the verge and thinking, well, it feels like a risk to then invest money into a system. And I was sat there doing the same, thinking, do I or don't I take the plunge?
mm,
Well, it's literally the best decision I made. It's literally the best decision I made. Like how the return on the money that I put into this system for what I'm getting back is insane. If you're thinking I'm retiring 17 years earlier, and the investment we're going to make, like it's just a no brainer. And when you make that decision at the beginning, you're scared. I'll admit it,
mm.
very very scared, overwhelmed from what you're going through and thinking about making this change. And you just gave very very simple um, structured advice, basically. And
Mm.
the resources you gave at the beginning, that takes all the heavy lifting off us. And you give very simple instructions about the steps to take. It's literally step one, step two, and they're such bite-sized, doable steps, which is why I said before that you don't feel like you're climbing a steep mountain, even though
Mm.
you're feeling so stressed and overwhelmed. What you're actually doing is just putting one foot in front of the other, and before you realize it, you're at the top of the mountain,
Yeah.
which is incredible. And then the um, the video is an online course. Again, you gave very simple sets for the next meeting, finish this section, which is
Yeah.
completely doable, even around working 60, 70 hours a week on shifts, which I do. I can do it without feeling overwhelmed. And they're really digestible information. You can go back and watch how many times you want. So they're amazing. I still go back now and watch them and recap, because we forget things and it's just
Mm.
accessible. One
Yeah.
of the really, like, reflecting on it now, one of the things that really stands out is you give so much support right at the beginning. I think you must understand how hard that beginning steps are, and you're very present with no
Yeah.
pressure. You're not hounding like, did you do this? But you're present, but in a very supportive way. And then you kind of then set us up and like let us go, and you're there if we need you, and you're very responsive.
Mm.
So it's kind of like empowering us with the tools.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, obviously, can't say enough good things, but
Yeah.
it all adds up to just life changing stuff, really.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to hear it. And yeah, I think you're a testament to, obviously people come in, and one of like the concerns people have is, well, there's a video course, and there's instructions to follow. Like, am I going to have enough time? This guy works, is it in A&E, right?
Yeah, than any
Did,
doctor.
yeah, working 60, 70 hours a week and found the time. So no excuses.
Yeah.
So what would you say to it? Like, if you were speaking to someone right now and they were on the fence, they're like, oh, I really don't know if I'm going to do this. It feels like a risk. Is this going to work? What would you say to them?
Do it. Like, I think I would, for me, the change in mental health was such a big
Mm.
thing for me. Like, I have spoken to people about this course, and as we were talking about earlier, like possible referrals from people at my work who are
Mm.
looking to go into this type of support. I talk about the life changing effect on your anxiety, your stress, your sleep, as a big pull for people to do. Because if you're thinking about engaging in a course like this and changing your finances, it's something that's playing on your mind. It's going to be a big factor in how it's making you feel. So just for that element alone and for your health,
Mm.
it, it's a no-brainer. I'd be like, you've got to do this. Like, it's going to change your life. And then obviously all the other practical stuff, like if you're sat on the verge thinking about doing this course and you don't know whether to take the dive or not, well, you're already in a bad place probably with your money, or you're in a
Yeah.
decent place, but you want more and you want the
Mm.
future that you want. And I was like, but you don't get that unless you commit, you're consistent, and you engage. So
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself at that point, if this is really what I want, then I have to commit and engage in the process. And you just got to do it.
Yeah. I totally agree. Totally agree. And last question, and absolutely be completely open and honest here. Is there anything you would change? Anything you think we could do better for students coming through this in the future?
I honestly can't think of anything, because for me, I know everybody's different,
Mm.
but it fit very well with me and everything that I kind of needed from it. And like I said, that strong support at the beginning to really help get through those first couple of steps was pivotal, I think, and you do that really well. I can't really think of anything, to be honest, that I would particularly change. It's just worked so well for me.
Good. I'm so glad to hear it, Carl. And again, I just want to kind of again say thank you for taking the time to do this, because obviously you've taken the time out of your day to come and do this. Ultimately, because you're really happy with the results that you've got and how much it's helped you. And it's been an absolute privilege and a pleasure working with you. Like I said, it's so refreshing to see people coming into this like yourself, who just throw themselves in, take the leap, put in the work, and look at what it's done. Look at what it does for you if you just trust the process. It's amazing. So yeah, full respect and kudos to you following through and making it happen really. So thank you. And yeah, looking forward to continue working with you for the next few months as well while you're still in the program.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, literally life changing, and you've, for me, I know you're very smart when it comes to money, and I don't understand, all the things that you have to do behind the scenes, but you make it for us so simple, and it's not rocket science. Anyone can do it. Literally, anyone can do it.
Thank you. Cheers, Carl. All right, thanks. I'll speak
Thanks.
to you soon. Take care.
Bye.